Was there a silent killer that contributed to Richard Simmons' death? Well, I'm going to break down the autopsy report and the cause of death in just a minute. But first, don't forget to like, subscribe, or become a member. Okay, this silent killer, this is not provable. This is not written on the autopsy report. However, I had help identifying this from Dr. Kendall Crowns, my friend, who is the chief medical examiner in Tarrant County, Texas. So let's get into it. Let me just remind you, Richard Simmons was 76 years old when he died in July earlier this summer, and his cause of death officially was blunt force trauma injuries. He had complication from these blunt force trauma injuries. So let's go back. And first of all, let me just remind you that Richard Simmons was such a vibrant man, such a positive man, and truly, he is just a loss for everybody. I loved him. If you watch this channel, you know I love Richard Simmons. So let's go back to July 11th, 2024. This is when he had a very bad fall in his home. And some of this information, by the way, is different than what we originally thought that we knew. So he suffered from this fall and on the 11th, and reportedly he spent the whole next day in bed recovering from this fall. However, 2 days later, on July 13th, which was a Saturday morning, his housekeeper woke up and found him next to his bed, unresponsive, and he was pronounced dead at 9:45 a.m. Now, the autopsy details that Richard Simmons suffered a fracture in his left femur and multiple bruises on his forehead, scalp, and arms, which were injuries likely sustained during this fall. So, the fall was definitely a major factor in his death because, his cause of death is saying, blunt force injuries and everything. But this report indicates that Richard Simmons had significant heart disease, specifically cardiovascular disease, which definitely contributed to the tragic outcome. And I will explain why. So, this condition of heart disease can restrict blood flow and cause dizziness, which I believe played a major role in this fall. And we'll get back to that because this is where the silent killer comes in. So in his system, as a side note, toxicology tests revealed there were some prescription medications to help him sleep. And these are, again, drugs to commonly treat insomnia. I'm not even going to try to pronounce them, but trazodone being one of them. And there were no traces of recreational drugs or anything that would raise any type of alarm beyond these prescribed medications. So the medical examiner did rule Richard Simmons' death as accidental and directly linked to his fall and the heart disease being a contributing factor. Now, our friend, Dr. Kendall Crowns, says that his dizziness was brought on by his heart condition, and that led to the collapse, which led to his fractures and all of his bruising. Now, the injuries combined with his heart issues ultimately overwhelmed his body. So the femur fracture as well would really, really stress his body out, which he believes, Dr. Crowns believes, ultimately resulted in his death. Now, he mentioned, and this is what I found to be interesting, and this is why it's called a silent killer. So if you have any family members, by the way, that have heart disease or loved ones with heart disease, pay attention. He sees a lot of fatalities in the bathroom of people with heart disease, and this is called Kodicardia. You learn something new every day. So Kodicardia refers to a situation where a person with heart disease experiences a sudden drop in blood pressure or their heart rate while using the bathroom. And this is typically due to straining or sudden movements as well. And then this can lead to dizziness, fainting, or even a heart attack. So people with pre-existing heart conditions, the stress of using the bathroom can sometimes overwhelm the heart, causing you to collapse or even death. So it's a serious issue that can occur, especially with people that are elderly or have weak hearts. And this is what Dr. Crowns believes happened to Richard Simmons. He experienced Kodicardia. So Richard Simmons goes to the bathroom and he gets lightheaded because of his heart disease, and he collapses, breaks his hip, fractures his femur, and dies from the stress due to the pain in his body from the untreated fracture. So, and that completely stressed his heart out and most likely, again, resulted in his death. And he had just celebrated his 76th birthday. And his last public message on Facebook really expressed gratitude for all the birthday wishes he received. In an interview, a very rare interview, he once celebrated or joked about celebrating with a candle stuck in a zucchini, which I don't know, it was kind of funny because he's just Richard Simmons and he tried to be healthy and be a good example for all of us. But his brother, Lenny Simmons, and the family spokesperson, Tom Esty, they've thanked the public for their love and support and just asking for privacy. And, while they mourn their beloved Richard Simmons, whose actual first name, by the way, was Milton Teagle. But yeah, Richard Simmons, I hope he didn't suffer when he died. His dedication for helping others live a healthier life touched millions of people. And his passing just serves as, a reminder of the importance of managing health conditions as we all age. All right, guys, thanks for watching and listening. I'm Lauren Conlin. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Pop Crime TV.